Hello everybody, this is me, Super Mono DJ, and welcome to another episode of Let's Review My Collection, a series in which I just go and look at a bunch of my stuff from my Mario collection, or other collections, and yeah, just do a review video, either in one video or multiple parts. It depends on how big it is. But yeah, today I'm going to be looking at something very interesting, and that is the Monopoly and Game of Life board game pieces, game character pieces, tokens or pawns. I don't. For now, just to make it easier, I'm gonna call these character pieces or just characters. I don't really know for sure, but yeah, these are just tokens or pawns that you can play with in the board games. And yeah, so without further ado, let's just jump on in with some of the old ones or nostalgic ones. So over here on this side, we have the Nintendo tokens, metal tokens. I don't really know if these are actual metal or not. They might just be painted metal, but I can't really say for sure. But yeah, these are tokens from the Monopoly Nintendo edition, which it was pretty much just Nintendo IPs all around the board. Or at least that's what the properties were. And yeah, and the cool thing too about it was I actually liked. Well, one thing I liked about it was the little cards that would tell you like, oh, if he got go to jail or head all the way to the or past go. They actually had like a Mario drawn in the style of like that Monopoly guy, which I found it to be very adorable. So yeah, that old one has a lot of nostalgia for me, I should say. But yeah, so here we can see 6 character pieces, all from different only from like 3 IPs, sadly. And that is, the first one is the Mario cap. The Mario cap, my goodness. I feel like I said that weird. There we go. Pretty cool. Now, this one is obviously going to be my go-to piece in that game of Monopoly, just because, you know, it's Mario. It only makes sense. Man, this thing cannot afford to stay. There we go. So, yeah. So, there's the Mario token, Mario's hat. Next up here we have is the green shell, which is, you know, obviously a staple in the Mario franchise. The green shell, you can throw it to your opponents in Mario Kart. You can ride on top of the shell in Mario 64. And yeah, you know, also you can just kick it to enemies just to kill them. So yeah, there's the green shell. My goodness. Next up here we have is the Donkey Kong Bell from the DK Country series. Pretty cool. You can see this is the bell, and we have the DK logo up front. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Like it a lot. Go back there. The next up here we have is the Legend of Zelda tokens. Now this one is obviously the Hylian shield, just from the Triforce and the wings. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. No Master Sword though, which is kind of interesting. So yeah. Also, I don't remember how long ago these tokens were. I'm gonna say at least like maybe 15 years ago. So yeah, because or maybe just 10 years ago. I don't exactly remember when they came out, but yeah. But next up here we have, I believe these are supposed to be the Iron Boots or maybe the Giant Boots. I don't really know for sure. I don't play Zelda, so if someone wants to, you know, correct me in the comments, I'm be more happy to do so. So yeah, there we go. Then the last one in the little Monopoly Nintendo edition is the... Come on, focus. There we go. Is the NES controller. Now, obviously, if you're going to do something with Nintendo, it only makes sense to reference a game controller. And why not reference the NES? Since that is pretty much the start of Nintendo, at least in America. I know in Japan, it was the Famicom. But yeah, you can see the NES controller is very well detailed. You can see the D-pad, the start and select, the A and B button, and also a nice little Nintendo name on it. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, definitely, it's not one of my, now this version of Monopoly is not one of my favorite. It's not, I like it, but it's not exactly my favorite. That goes to the Super Mario Monopoly Gamers Edition, the Monopoly Super Mario Gamers Edition one, which we're going to get into right now. So, starting off with Mario over here, we can see he is looking, he's in his little crisscross pose. He doesn't look mad though, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, pretty cool. Obviously, my favorite just because, you know, it's Mario, so I have to go with him, obviously. And yeah, he's very well painted. I do like him a lot. Also, something I should mention too is in this version of Monopoly, they actually have cards given to them. So, if you want to play as Mario, he comes with his own special abilities. If you want to play as Luigi, he also has his own special abilities. So yeah, this version of Monopoly, I feel like can be very complicated. Just because like they're throwing so much into it. They're actually making it like an actual game. So, you know, it can be a little bit too much to take. But anyways, next up here we have is Tanuki Mario. So there we go. An odd choice to have as a character just because, like, while I do love it, again, like, you don't, there's no Daisy, there's no, like, Bodo, there's no Goomba, there's no Koopa Troopa. Instead, they just went with power-ups, which I don't mind, but again, like, you have so many other characters that could have been in this Monopoly game. So yeah, there's Tanuki Mario, looking very awesome as ever. He's in his iconic 3D land pose, you know, spinning the tail, and yeah, also nicely well painted. A favorite of mine just because I do love Tanuki Mario. The next up here we have is Fire Mario, another power-up version of Mario. Again, for some reason they just had to keep throwing power-ups in here. So yep, there's Fire Mario with the fireball. He's getting ready to throw it, but he also looks like he's balling the fireball, which is kind of funny. But yeah, another iconic pose of a power-up. And yeah, again, just, you know, just looking at his face, it's very well sculpted and painted, I will say. So yeah, and obviously the base is white because, you know, Fire Mario color scheme is white and red. So yeah, overall, just a nice little lovely little minifigure. Then next up here we have is Luigi. Now I'm gonna skip these for now and I'll come back to them later. But here we have Luigi in his welcome pose. At least that's what I believe it to be. So yeah, pretty cool. I kind of wish they had him in the same pose as Mario, just to have them side by side. But you know, it's fine either way. I guess you have to make them different in terms of the pose. So yeah, Luigi right here, pretty cool. Nothing really much else to say. I do love him a lot, though. I will say he just looks very welcoming. So yeah, this is his face. And whatnot. So yeah. Alright, so moving on to Princess Peach. Here she is. Also, I should mention, when you get the Monopoly game, I don't believe Luigi is actually part of the main group. You actually had to buy him individually, which sucked. So yeah. So that was a little bit of a disappointment. I could be wrong though, because I don't remember. But yeah, I think what it was, I think the lineup was Mario, Peach, Yoshi, DK, and then Bowser. I could be wrong though. But yeah, I do remember having to buy Luigi, which was stupid. Alright, but anyways, moving back to Princess Peach. Here she is. In her little praying pose, which, you know, is a pose that you see in the glass stained windows of Honor Castle. And yeah, there's nothing really much else to say for these pieces besides they look cool and are very nicely well painted. So yeah, there's a little close-up of Peach's face. And yeah. But again, sadly no Daisy though, so it kind of, like, why not have all three princesses? Which I'm going to get into Princess Rosalina. So yep, here she is. Or just Rosalina for short. She has her wand, which is pretty cool. No Luma though, so that's a little bit interesting, but I can see why. So yeah, funny enough, her wand is pretty much just on her dress. I mean, she's still holding it, but it doesn't pop out, which I can see why. You know, for something as small as this, the wand would be so easily fragile and flimsy. So yeah, but there you can see Rosalina, her face, her one eye, her other eye is covered. Her long dress, and then the tiara. And then yeah, overall just a nice little mini figure of Rosalina. Alright, moving on to Toad. Here we can see this little fun guy. He's honestly, I feel like all of these poses that Monopoly gave him are iconic to them. So yeah, I can't really say too much about the pose. You know, he has his hands on his hips. Oh, I guess yeah, his hands are on his hips. So yeah, no Toadette though, which is also interesting. But yeah, but for Toad, he's very well painted for the small little fun guy he is, and you gotta appreciate that. So yeah, all right. So moving on to Yoshi. Here he is in his little, and he's walking. Oh, come on. There we go. Walking pose. You know, he's walking wherever he's going. He's just moving. No thoughts, just moving. So yep, you know, they can see his eyes, the nose, the big old nose, the shoes, the saddle, his hair. And yeah, and overall, just for a character like this, he's very well painted. Now, I do wish they did come out with additional colors for Yoshi, because that would have been cool. But I guess they really wouldn't have done much for the Monopoly, for this version of Monopoly. So yeah, sadly, there's nothing really much else they could do. But either way, again, very cool. Now, these next two are very interesting. We have Donkey Kong, and then after DK, Diddy Kong. So here's Donkey Kong in his what I assume is now being called the rare design of DK. Now, I am very interested to see if Monopoly ever does a DK board game, or just have another Monopoly version where DK is one of the character pieces. If they go with the new design, so honestly, this might be DK's design rare design DK. My goodness, last time in a Monopoly game. I believe he might have been in the Mario Kart version of Monopoly. I'll have to go look that up and see. But yeah, but there you can see DK, his smile, his fist are up in the air, the DK tie, his stomach, his feet, and then yeah, overall a nice looking DK little minifigure. It would have been nice if they had an articulation though, but you know, I think that would have been too much for for board game pieces. Alright, the next up here we have is Diddy Kong. Now, he also had gotten a redesign recently, so I am curious to see if Diddy Kong's design would change in the merchandise as well. I've already seen it happen, but in terms of like toys and plushies, I wonder if that's going to happen. But yeah, but there you can see Diddy Kong, no Nintendo logo sadly, which I mean it makes sense as to why, because you know, the hat is way too small. But there you can see his eyes, or his one eye with the two pupils, his mouth, the shirt. I don't remember if the shirt has stars on it. I know in the back they do have the stars, but I don't know if it's on the front. I don't think so. But yeah, you can see his little arms and legs, the tail, and then obviously the star on the back. And then you can see the back of his cap as well. So yeah. Now, I kind of wish I brought the cards out for these guys so I can show you what their stats are in the game. But honestly, that would take way too long, so yeah. Our next up here we have is Wario. Mario's little, I guess, rival, if you even want to call it that. Well, the accurate title is the opposite version of Mario. The evil Mario, that some might say. But yeah, here is Wario in all of his greedy, bad self. Now, he does fit for Monopoly because, you know, Monopoly is all about money. So, yeah. So, yeah. But for Wario, he's very well painted. And he's very well sculpted. I like him a lot. You can see his big old belly. His tiny little feet covered in his green shoes. His arms and his muscles. The face is also very well painted too. You can see the W emblem as well. His little elf ears, the pink nose, the mustache. And then you have the W emblems as well. Now, sadly, there's no Waluigi as well. So, yeah, so now that I think about it, these two over here don't really justify their existence because there's so many other Mario characters that could have been in this Monopoly game that for some reason weren't included, but instead Monopoly decided to add two power versions, which I don't mind, but again, you have so many other characters, why not go all out? Why not add Waluigi? Why not add Toadette? And why not add other enemies like Goomba and whatnot? So yeah. So it doesn't really make sense. Also, I forgot about Daisy too. So yeah, she needs to be in the game as well. But yeah, alright, moving on to Boo. Now this one is very interesting because I don't know why he's here. Again, I know he's an iconic enemy, but is he more iconic than Goomba or Koopa Troopa? you know. So yeah, but his Boo, a very simple design. He's just a white ball with the eyes and a mouth, also with stubby little arms and a tail. So yeah, nothing really much else to say besides, you know, nice looking Boo minifigure. Can't really go too on with this design. Alright, now moving on to the last one in the Monopoly Super Mario Gamers Edition. Here we have Bowser. Now, oh my goodness. How do you even... I have to give credit to the... maybe the painters who worked on this. I don't know if it was just a machine or people actually put paint into this thing. But yeah, I mean, he's very well nicely painted, nicely sculpted. You can see his shell looking all cool and whatnot. His arms are, you know, he looks like he's ready to roll at you. But yeah, you can see his face. The eyes aren't like then the when it comes to the paint job on the eyes, they're good but not perfect. It's like yeah, but also it makes sense just because of how small these character pieces are. So yeah, so I can see why. But on the top of it, you have his hair, the horns, the mouth, his stomach, and the legs. But yeah, but you know, overall, for a big character like him, he works very well. Also his tail too. So yeah. Also no Bowser Jr. though, which again just leaves me more baffled on how many characters they missed. But yeah, but with that, that's pretty much it for the Monopoly Super Mario pieces. But that's not it for now, because actually a few years later, on the 35th anniversary for the Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary, they actually came out with a Monopoly version of Super Mario called Super Mario Celebrations. I believe that was what the name was. Now, you would think the pieces would be represented of Mario's 35 years. So you would think an 8-bit Mario, 16-bit Mario, and the Nintendo 64 version of Mario, the GameCube Mario, the Wii Mario model, etc., etc. But nope. For some reason, Hasbro decided to cheap out and give us these guys. And as much as I love these, I cannot understand why they were so lazy. Especially since this was years after this little line of Monopoly pieces. So yeah. So let's just go over these. So yeah. So let's start with the Mario pose, because this is pretty much just repaints. So here we have what I assume to be, man, I can't even. What I assume to be the gold version of Mario, because again, Nintendo seems to love gold and silver Mario, so and love putting them in merchandise. So yeah, so there's Mario, all gold. I guess yellow is more accurate term, and then comparing them to this Mario over here. There we go. And yeah, I mean, I'm just so baffled by this decision, man. I really don't get it. And the next up here we have is either silver or metal Mario. It really depends on what you want to call them. So yep, the same pose as this Mario, but just painted gray. So yeah, I mean, again, these are cool, but like they could have done so much better with the Super Mario Celebrations Monopoly game. They could have done so much better. The next up here we have is I'm gonna call this Star Power Mario because that's what we usually see in the merchandise, a translucent or clear version of Mario. But yeah, there we go. There's the little transparency, I guess, to represent the Star Power. Yeah, nothing really too exciting going on here. And then yeah, but you think that would be it? Nope. Instead, we got a recolor of Tanuki Mario as well. So here we have what I assume to be white Tanuki. Honestly, this is just my headcanon on what these pieces are called. This is white Tanuki Mario, just because, again, there's also the white Tanuki suit that you can get in 3D Land and in 3D Land. So yeah, his face is not painted in, which sucks, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, this just seems like a lazy version of Monopoly. I mean, I think it's still the same game, but it's just like, come on, man, like you really can't go all out with the pieces. So yeah, so there's white Tanuki Mario, and then for Fire Mario, this one it gets a little bit weird, I will say. So here we have Ice Mario, or yeah, Ice Mario to be more accurate. Now, obviously, when you see the blue, you think of the ice power up or the ice fire flower. So yeah, that makes sense. Also, this is what he looked like in Super Mario Galaxy, somewhat. Except he was a little bit of a lighter blue, not dark blue. So yeah, so I can see why. I mean, this makes sense just a little bit. So yeah, he's all blue and stuff. But I, for some reason, cannot figure out what this is. What exactly is this? I don't know if it's Fire Mario, if it's some other Lava Mario. I really don't know. Because we already have Fire Mario, so why do we need another Fire Mario? Oh my goodness, like, I just don't get it, man. I really don't get it. Again, I love these pieces. I love all of them, to be honest with you. But man, I just cannot wrap my head around this. Like, how did Hasbro messes up this badly with the game pieces? Again, it would have been nice to have 8-bit, 16-bit, and 64, and etc. game pieces of Mario. But nope, instead we got these lazy, cheap repaints of already existing Mario characters. They can't even bother to give them a new mold or sculpt. So yeah. Oh my goodness. With that little rant over, we're done with the Monopoly Super Mario Celebration set. And then now we can move on to the Monopoly Mario Kart set. Now, I only have 5 of these, and trust me, there's a lot more out there, but I don't have them, sadly, and I don't think I'll ever go after them. So yeah, so for starting off here, we have Mario in his little red coat, with the design being based off of Mario Kart 8. Yeah, so here was Mario, very well painted. Now, they didn't really go too much all out on the carts, but that's okay, I guess. As long as we got the character, the emblem, as well as the color representing them on the cart, I think it works pretty well. So yep, so there's Mario. You can see him, very well painted. There's the emblem. His color is red. Obviously, it makes sense. And then there's the bottom. Now it would have been perfect if these cards can move, but sadly that's just not how it is. But that would have been amazing though. So yeah. And then moving on, we have is Luigi. There we go. Oh. There we go, there's Luigi. Living off the dead still. Now, I don't know if that's the same on all of the Luigi pieces for the Mario Kart game. A Monopoly game. That could just be mine, but I do love him a lot that he's living the dead still. It's pretty cool. So, yep, so for his color, the color would be green. There's the L emblem. There's Luigi's face or body on the steering wheel. And yeah, again, these are just little basic character pieces, but, you know, it makes sense for a board game, honestly. So, yeah, there's Luigi. Now, next up here we have is Princess Peach. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't think this one is really my favorite in terms of the Princess Peach board character pieces in the board games, I will say, because I think her face is just way too small that they had, like, squeeze her face in. So, yeah. But either way, she still looks pretty good. You know, you have a ponytail, the crown, the dress, the little blue necklace thing, her gloves, and then for the emblem is obviously Peach's crown, and then her color is pink as well. So there we go. Now moving on to Toad. Now Toad, sadly, I don't think works in this form, because look at him. He cannot even see the road. His eyes are on the steering wheel. They can have made him just a little bit taller, give him a little booster seat. Like, my goodness, this does not work at all. And sadly, I don't think Toad is going to be able to drive. So yeah, you can see Toad's face a little bit. But yeah, Toad does not work in this mini form, so sadly. But yeah, that's his emblem, the blue coat. And yeah, sadly, Toad doesn't get any love if any he's stuck like that. But yeah, and then the last one I have for the Mario Kart series set, I should say, is Metal Mario. Now, obviously, I had to get him when these came out just because it's Metal Mario. He's one of my mains in Mario Kart 8/Deluxe. Although I do use the gold variant often more than the metal one. So yeah. Oh, stupid camera doesn't want to focus. And yeah, you know, there's Metal Mario. You can see the little yellow, no, not yellow, the white cap. My goodness, or the little white patch for the M emblem. Then you have his the Metal Mario's emblem, which is the same as Mario's. And then yeah, then there's Metal Mario's face. So yeah, but overall, nice little looking Monopoly piece. And yeah, so that's it. And now going on to the last 4. Now these are gonna be very quick. We have the Game of Life board character pieces. So starting off, we have Mario here. Now he's in his welcome pose. And in the back, we can see these little pads. Now I believe now in the game you collect stars. You don't get children, spouse, partners, pets. Instead, I believe you just get stars. So yeah, so that's what these little pads are behind for. And yeah, And these are like in the little stuff and the little plate that Mario and the character is sitting on, a little bit more bigger, I would say. So yeah, so there's Mario. Pretty cool. In a welcome pose. Now comparing up to this Mario over here. I think they got a little bit better with their designs of the characters in these mini scales, I will say. So yep. Then moving on to Luigi. Now Luigi seems to be in a victory pose. So there we go. But I do love this pose nonetheless. I mean, either way, every pose is good. So, yep, there's the pads. Oh, excuse me, there's the pads. There's Luigi himself, looking very amazing. And then comparing him to this Luigi over here. I think what makes the improvement more is the eyes. I think they did a better job on the eyes than the Super Mario Monopoly ones. So, yeah. There's Luigi. Then moving on to Princess Peach. Here we have her in this little, like, I guess, walking or maybe running pose. So, yeah, there she is. Her arms are spread out. Is there a dog out there that I hear? I don't know if y'all can hear that on camera, but yeah. But there's the other Peach from the Super Mario one. The Monopoly one, I should say. But yeah. Again, pretty cool. Also, I think this one is also a little bit better painted. Then the last one we have is Yoshi. Now, sadly, they didn't make any more after these 4, so that kind of sucks. But either way, you know, it's fine to have 4 of them, at least, you know, for 4-player, multiplayer, I guess, on a board game. So yeah, man, there we go, finally. So here's Yoshi. Now, Yoshi also has his arms spread out. Now, this also could be a welcome pose. I don't really know for sure. I'm not really that huge into the pose and what the names are called for them. So, yeah, I'm just going off with what I think they're supposed to be called. So, yeah, now the funny thing about this Yoshi one is that you can see his left eye. The people on his left eye is a little bit too far out, I would say. So, and that's because this is how he looks like. So obviously to give off that illusion that he's looking at you from the side, they had to do it like this, which is kind of funny, I will say. So yeah. But there's Yoshi from the Game of Life game. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for all of my little board game pieces / tokens from Hasbro. I do have other board games as well featuring Mario characters, but that's chess or checkers, and those also from different companies. And I just wanted to keep this video all under one brand. So that being Hasbro. But yeah. But overall, I do love these pieces a lot, and I'm super happy to have them. Hopefully they do come out with more different versions of these characters in board game form, because I would love to see more of these. But yeah, again, I think these are very awesome. They're very well painted. They're very well sculpted. And yeah, and as a little collectible, I think they work very well. So yeah, so that's it for me. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Do you love this? Do you love these? Do you hate them? Do you have any of these board games yourself? And yeah, so again, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share. And yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. This is Super Mario 19J signing out. I will see you all in the next video.